Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, September 22nd, 2025. Time in Texas about 10 a.m. Some of the sources I'll use today: God in the Bible, Patriot Subscribers, Israeli News Live, Through the Eyes of, Polish journalist Ania K., Best and Taylor, Steve Quayle's aggregate site, InfoWars, Scott Ritter, Larry Johnson, Hal Turner. Some of the things I'll cover: Gabrielle, Cat 3, and the Charlie Kirk. What's going on here is the horn sign, so we'll get into it. What's going on with Venezuela, Ukraine, Russia, war? So let's get started. I'm going to begin by covering the what's going on in the tropics. Okay, so we've got two systems out here. The first one is Gabrielle, a Cat 3 hurricane with winds of 120 miles per hour. Excuse me. Gabrielle is moving north at 10 miles per hour. Barometric pressure 957. Now, models predict Gabrielle is going to turn back to the east away from the U.S. We have a second system that's likely to become a tropical depression within the next few days, moving west-northwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour. Chance of development in the next 7 days, 40%. We have in space, I believe that was BPEARTHWATCH put out, the Atlas comet. Many people don't believe it's a comet, but it's some type of unidentified as yet interstellar object, has brightened 40 times in the last few days. So that's going on. We know today is also an equinox time for the world. We have from InfoWars, and another source I'm using is Max Blumenthal with GRAYZONE, that in the recent visit of Bibi Netanyahu from Israel to the White House, that some of Bibi's people put in Secret Service vehicles and around the White House listening devices, which have been discovered. Yeah. So that's going on. We have this, Through the Eyes of Ania K. So we know in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, September 10. So on Sunday, September 21 in Arizona, there was a huge memorial service. 100,000 were present. 100 million observed the memorial service via live stream. It was the most watched memorial in history. Now, what is coming up is that during the memorial service, we see Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, hugging President Trump and also making a hand sign like this. 2 fingers up, the index and little finger up, middle fingers down, thumb out. And so there is controversy about this hand sign. Now, many of us in Texas are familiar with the hand sign, thumb and middle fingers in, index and little finger up, of the University of Texas. to honor their mascot, a longhorn named Bevo. But the one that Erica Kirk gave, and I saw the video, was middle and little finger up and thumb out. There's also a yoga sign that mimics the sign of the University of Texas also. So conspiracy theorists are asking, why did Erica Kirk give this sign? This would have been with her left hand because she was hugging President Trump. With her right arm. So that's going on. And we know a few days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated that Erica Kirk was named the CEO of Turning Point, which is a multi-million-dollar organization. Now, it's coming out from Max Blumenthal of GRAYZONE, Candace Owens, and other sources that a few days, about 10 days before Charlie Kirk's assassination, he met with some representatives from Israel and Zionist billionaires in a meeting, I believe, in the Hamptons, where Charlie Kirk was offered $150 million to continue a strong Zionist supporting Israel stance. Because in the past few months, Charlie Kirk had begun to pull away from the Christian Zionist position and to participate in debates that covered such points as the genocide going on in Palestine. At that meeting 10 days ago, Charlie Kirk offered $150 million. He turned the deal down. I submit that's when the Israeli Mossad, the UK MI6, the US CIA and FBI and other US government agencies colluded to put forth the assassination. And I do not believe Tyler Robinson was the assassin, but rather the fall guy put forth by the FBI and CIA. So that's my position. Now, I said I had received a word of knowledge from God regarding the Charlie Kirk assassination. DRAFE, D-R-A-F-E. And to this day, I believe I put that out about last Thursday. This is Monday. To this day, my internet is scrubbed of this word. The nearest word to it that comes up on my internet is draft, D-R-A-F-T. So we see something going on. So I ask my Patriot subscribers to see if they could come up with something. I receive replies from my Patriot subscribers on Rumble. We know Rumble is based in Canada. So Drafe can refer to a warrior character. It can refer to a character in a witchcraft video game. It can refer to a fur animal type movement. I'm assuming this is the one where people dress up like animals. It's also a family name that originated in Pennsylvania and migrated to Utah. Recall, the shooting took place in Utah. And we have, so that's going on. We have this. So we have Stephen Gardner, that Candace Owens had received a secret video information. So where Charlie Kirk was assassinated, we're coming out with new information from multiple sources. So say this is the chair where Charlie Kirk was sitting. This would be the building, Losi building, being put forth as the site for Tyler Robinson to take the shot, which is looking more and more less believable. So we have information, Stephen Gardner, that right after the assassination, an employee of Turning Point obtained video cameras that were just behind Charlie Kirk. And what they show is there's no blood or injury behind his head. Now, it's coming out from Larry Johnson in a recent interview with Dialogue Works. The FBI is putting forth that Tyler Robinson used a Mauser 30-06, which Larry Johnson, a former CIA analyst, puts forth. A Mauser 30.6 would have produced an exit wound the size of a baseball. And there's other forensic evidence coming out from other sources that indicate it could not have been a Mauser 30-06. It had to be a much smaller caliber to produce what it is we saw. And we have this. President Trump to his AG Pam Bondi. It's like, ¿Qué pasó, Pam? What's up? He wants Pam to proceed with inquiries regarding the Charlie Kirk assassination. So that's going on. And he wants Pam Bondi to pursue links between the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Soros, and the UK MI6. So Pam, the American people want the same. We have this from Facebook, and I personally have heard this same report from people immediately around me. If you cried and felt a burden for someone you have never met, that would be Charlie Kirk, it's because you are part of the body of Christ. And I have been receiving reports of people around me who say the same thing. They were deeply grieved and didn't quite understand why, for a man they had never met. So that's going on. So we also had some videos from Israeli News Live. I encourage you to watch 2 or 3 he's put out in the last few days. Also referencing Mike Adams. So we have this with Mike put out forensic sound information. It appears less and less likely that Tyler Robinson even took a shot from the Losi building. It appears more logical based on the forensic evidence coming out from other sources other than the FBI. The FBI is putting forth that Tyler Robinson, a lone shooter, took the shot with a Mauser 30-06 from the Losi building. So far, I haven't seen any evidence to support this, and I have put forth my belief from the beginning. Tyler Robinson is simply a fall guy for the FBI, just like they used Oswald for President Kennedy, for RFK, Sirhan, most recently for President Trump's attempted assassination, a guy named Crook. I submit this story about the assassination of Charlie Kirk coming out of the U.S. government lines up with some elements in the U.S. government perpetrating the assassination. So what we see coming out from Israeli News Live, Mike Adams, and other sources, based on forensic analysis of the crime scene, is that most likely Charlie Kirk was actually shot from this side with a much smaller, some of Stephen Israeli News Live's videos show the actual sound of the gun. It's just a small click. It's most likely it went in this side of his head, just above the ear, with an exit wound out the neck. And as Larry Johnson puts forth, if it had been a Mauser 30-06, it would have left an exit wound the size of a baseball. So we see there's less and less information coming out that supports the government's position. So that's going on. And the information coming out from the, we know, conspiracy theorist appears to support that it was FBI, CIA, MI6, Mossad, and that the Israeli government was deeply involved. So that's going on. Now we have this from New York Prepper puts forth. So we know we have in the Caribbean, we have 8 U.S. warships plus other equipment, and that in the past 24 hours, the U.S. tested over the Caribbean an ICBM. That's a large missile. So that's going on. We have this, Martin Armstrong, globally famous economist, with his predictive software Socrates, talking about what's going on in Europe and Ukraine and Russia, that the European economies are crashing, and that the deep state in control of NATO and the EU simply want war to make money. And we have this. Yeah, they want to plunder Russia of its $75 trillion worth of natural resources. Martin Armstrong's predictive software Socrates predicts World War III by 2028. So we see everything we're seeing on the world stage is not true. Now we have this from Hal Turner. So over the weekend, a current terrorist, al-Jawlani, head of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, who personally involved himself in killing U.S. military, al-Jawlani, a current terrorist, masquerading now as the head of the government of Syria, and as Hal Turner puts it, a known head chopper, came to New York City posing as the head of the government of Syria to meet with the UN. Okay. And the FBI, the major perpetrator of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, is now warning American citizens of Al-Qaeda plots inside the U.S. And yet we see the head of Al-Qaeda, al-Jawlani, posing as the head of the Syrian government, is welcomed into New York City and the UN. Can't make this stuff up. I wonder if he's here to coordinate the attacks by his terrorist organization, Al-Qaeda, on American citizens. Okay, we have this from Best and Taylor. President Trump, we know, in the past few days made a visit to the UK. Now, a picture came out showing Melania, President Trump, King Charles and Camilla, the wife of King Charles. And King Charles had both of his hands behind his back. This is being put out and interpreted as a Masonic sign that King Charles is not in charge. So that's going on. And in the past 24 hours, President Trump has said the U.S. wants to take back Bagram Air Force Base located in Afghanistan. So that's going on. We have this, Scott Ritter. Now, Scott came out on a YouTube site, World Decode, talking about the alleged Russian drones going into Poland that prompted, I believe that was like last Tuesday, a response from NATO over Poland. Scott Ritter says these were decoy drones made of styrofoam, but goes further. They weren't even fired into Poland by Russia, but they were fired into Poland by Ukraine to prompt a NATO response. So you can't, it's hard to know what's going on in the world unless you are somewhat skeptical. So it's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.